Hello, I'm Frantiska Vesela. I was born on January 12, 1881. I was baptized into the Catholic Church as an infant. My father is Clement Vesely and mother Frantiska Minerova. They both came from miller families and had an arranged marriage. It was not a happy one. Here is my baptism record. I was blessed with a religious mother who had the disposition of an angel. My father was a brutal type of man, causing my mother untold sorrow and tribulation. I grew up in a typical rural village of southern Bohemia called Pavlov, which is just south of the main town of Pelšimov. Our property was called Stemflek, which consisted of a mill next to a stream leading into a pond. My father ground grains such as barley and wheat. I had 9 living siblings: Jan, Anna, Johanna, Marie, Alzbeta, Katerine, Joseph, Augustine, František and Karl. Here is my 1894 report card. I went to school in Rinarek, just south of my house. Here is a genealogy chart that I made in my school notebook. I had never felt the love of a good home. At the age of 18, shortly after mother's death, I went to Vienna to live with my older sister Anna. It was there that I first learned what a heaven home can be. I helped cook and nanny at the Merkers. It was not hard for me to leave my small country town. Anna invited the Brodil brothers over for dinner. I found that František was a gentle, kind man who had a wonderful talent for music, and after dinner he would play his violin for us. As I enjoyed sitting and listening to him play, the two of us were falling in love. At age 21, I married him, who was 13 years older than me. We married on Valentine's Day and I was determined to make my marriage different from my parents. Here is the beautiful chapel of votive Kirche in Vienna. Our eldest daughter Frances was born in 1904. Our daughter Jane was born in 1906. We raised our daughters in Vienna, part of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. My sister Kathy died, so we took in her 9-month-old daughter, Sophia. We raised her as a daughter until she was 6, when my other sister Anna took her in. As the priest read Bible passages and delivered his sermons, I learned them by heart. I began to read the Bible for myself in Vienna, and found many interesting things therein, but also some that caused me to wonder. I read some tracts from missionaries and decided to get baptized at the risk of legal penalty. I was baptized on September 29, 1913 into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We had to arrange a night the officers would not catch us for the baptism. So we settled the event on that of a stormy night at the Danube River at midnight. On our arrival the wind calmed down, the rain stopped, and the moon and stars shone brightly. It became the most beautiful and peaceful night you can imagine. I was indeed cold. My sisters didn't love the Mormons and I was very sad about this. The First World War broke out after the assassination of Austrian Franz Ferdinand in 1914, missionaries were suddenly called home, and all the brethren went to war. The last 2 years of the war were so horrible that we almost died from starvation. Bread, potatoes, and a few vegetables were doled out to us, but never was there enough for a healthy meal. We were mere skeletons compared with before the war. We had to wait in long lines for food. Sometimes, after waiting all day for food, there was no food. This is called the turnip winter. Then followed an upheaval of governments and revolution, resulting in the organization of the Czechoslovak state. All those of Czech nativity in the Austrian governmental positions were thrown out of work, and my husband soon found himself without employment. The Czech government promised us work, but several months passed. My husband worried to provide for his family. At the time of our removal to Prague he passed away, leaving me alone with my 2 children. The next few years were indeed trying. I was alone in Prague, with no friends and 2 children of school age. My brother Karl in Chile sent me the money that enabled me to send my children through school. Several years passed, and though we heard little of the church, we continued to live according to its teachings in isolation. In 1921 they came. My 2 daughters were baptized in the Moldau. They brought encouragement, saying that they would soon send us missionaries, but none came for several years. The church was our home. In 1928, Thomas Biesinger came to clear the political path for missionaries to come. He left and nothing was happening. That was my darkest hour, for I knew there was no obstacle in the church's path, yet they did not come. How bitter and disappointed I felt. I was deeply unhappy about his going. If I had not had such a strong testimony, I would have surely apostatized. I wrote to Heber J. Grant pleading for missionaries. An unseen power seemed to be pushing me to do it. He sent that letter to John A. Widtsoe. We exchanged many letters. I provided much helpful information on conditions in Prague. It was my last try in this matter. I thought the Lord would surely do the rest. On July 24, 1929, the Czech mission was dedicated at a wooded knoll known as Priest's Hill, not far from the Karlsten Castle. You can still visit this monument. I expressed the realization of the working of the hand of the Lord, and of an answer to prayer. I thank the people of my country. I knew this work would progress and be successful here. This is Karlstein Castle. It was hard to believe our eyes. Few people can realize the joy we experienced. We had been praying years for this day. We thanked the Lord from the bottom of our hearts for his bounteous blessings. Because of my efforts, the door was opened for the gospel for an entire nation. Widtsoe said, "She will be known as a woman who prayed a mission into existence." My stubborn vigil since my baptism 16 years earlier had been rewarded. Missionaries gave me the name of Mamasek, meaning, our mission mother. I was the first Czech Relief Society president. I am teaching on the hill. I loved living in historic Prague. My story is in this Relief Society magazine. It was also published in the 1936 Deseret News. I loved to cook babufka and zeli. Elder Miller wrote about his visit to my house, saying, "It was the best meal since leaving home. They only have one little room, the 2 beds and stove take most of the room. There were 7 there for dinner, nevertheless, they treated us royal and the food tasted mighty good to me." Days before my death, I dreamt about my own funeral. So very much nice flowers. I was living and I saw all. I had a quiet death. I died November 26, 1931 at age 50. Here is my funeral in Prague. I was flattered to hear Brother Widtsoe say that I was a really marvelous woman and that my story must be preserved in church history. He gifted the beautifulest wreath. At my funeral, President Gates said, "Her beautiful, Christ-like spirit will linger among us." Only those who have a picture of the development of the work in this mission will be able to comprehend the loss we have suffered. She was a mother, counselor, and an example to us. Our Mamasek has gone to her reward. My greatest wish and ambition was to see the Book of Mormon translated into the Czech language. My daughters helped make that happen 2 years after my death. Both of my daughters married former Czech missionaries and ended up migrating to America before World War II. I'm Frantiska Vesela Brodilova. I am a Czech pioneer and mother of the mission. I hope you enjoyed watching.